Happy Barbie film release day! Hey there, it's Olivia-Savannah here from Olivia's Catastrophe, and I'm wearing one of the only pink things I own to recommend you some books that Barbie would definitely read. So I've got 10 books here that Barbie would read, and I'm just going to get straight down to business. I hope we're all enjoying the film. I hope you're having a good time reliving your childhood moments while watching Barbie, and these are some book recommendations for people who want to read like Barbie. So the first book that Barbie would definitely read is actually a Christmassy one, and that's In a Holidaze by Christina Lauren. So this is a book where this person gets stuck in a time loop around the Christmas period, and she keeps on dying at the end, and she needs to do things in a certain way for her to be able to break free of that time loop, and it's a Christmassy story. And the reason why I think Barbie would read this book is because of the fact that Barbie loves a good happily ever after, and this is a romance book, so it's definitely going to have that, but it's also kind of set at the moment where you're feeling all perfect, where everything is cozy as it should be, but then something mysteriously starts going wrong and the world is getting warped. And if that does not sound like the film that we're all going to be watching, then I don't know what is. So I took that kind of vibe to it and brought it to this book. So another book that Barbie would definitely read is Animal Farm by George Orwell. Now everybody thinks that Barbie does not have brain cells and would not be able to read some really in-depth analytical book, but she definitely could. She could read Animal Farm and she would understand the depth to it, but she would also appreciate the satirical Animal Farm mask fairy tale to it, because then it makes it not too dark, it makes it not too deep, and she's aware of the duality of being able to see the surface level parts of the story but also the deeper meaning. And I think that is exactly Barbie's vibe for books that will make her think. She wants something that digs in deep, but you can also read it on a surface level. So that's why she'd like Animal Farm. And if you don't know what Animal Farm is, it's a satirical book about these animals who take over their farm and kind of take it over from the farmers and run it their own way. It's a bit of commentary on communism and some of the communistic figures during the Marxist period in Russia. So the next book that Barbie would definitely read is None of the Above by Travis Alabanza. So this is a collection of essays, and I do think Barbie would want to dip in and out of her non-fiction reading, and it's by a black trans non-binary author about identity, about things that have been said and done to them as a trans person, and they're really talking about what it means to be non-binary, what it means to live their life, but also in the ways in which non-binary is not something that can be pinned down by one person's experience. I love this essay collection, and I think Barbie is actually quite keen on themes of identity and themes of belonging and understanding yourself and owning it yourself. So therefore I think she would really like this essay collection, and it's also a pink book, so it totally fit on Barbie's shelf. The next book that I'm going to recommend is also another non-fiction, and that's To My Sisters, and this is kind of a self-help book about making and growing and building lifelong friendships that will really work for you, and you get to learn about who you are as a friend, but also what kind of friend you need to be finding. And I think Barbie is just really loyal and dedicated to her friends. She really cares about them, and she always has a strong group of girlfriends around her, so she will have definitely read this book because she already knows how to hone her friendships. Right, we've got to talk about the Kenergy, that romance, that budding feeling of loyalty, and I thought the perfect book to represent everything that is Kenergy is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, and that's because Raymond is Ken to the utmost. Ken is admittedly a himbo. Ken is also just incredibly loyal and incredibly kind and sweet, and I think Raymond in this book really embodies that undeterring kindness, that undeterring loyalty, and the ability to see Eleanor as she really is. Now don't get me wrong, I'm describing this book and making it sound like a romance, which it is not actually. While there are some romantic things that happen in this book, it's more so about Eleanor learning about herself and the ways in which she's not completely fine. It's really lovely, it's heartwarming and uplifting, but it's also just got Raymond, who is an absolute cinnamon roll himbo, just like Ken. But now I want to recommend one that's actually a romance with themes of identity, and that is Loveboat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen. So Barbie would like this one because she is so much like the main character. Our main character here is a young teenager who's just trying her best to be perfect. She wants to be exactly as her parents want to be, when really at her core all she wants to do is dance instead of pursuing a medical profession. And when she gets sent to Taipei to go to like a summer camp, she decides she's going to do everything for herself here and live out one last summer the exact way she wants before she returns home. And things might get a bit wild, and what she doesn't know is that this summer camp school situation is actually one big romantic relationship drama mess that she has walked into and got caught up in. And I can just imagine Barbie reading this book and loving the themes of identity and discovering who you really are, but also digging and living for all the romantic drama, all the fake dating and love triangles and love nonsense that goes on in this book just as much as I did. Barbie would also read the Lunar Chronicles because Barbie is, as I said, someone who loves a good happily ever after, but she also likes her fairy tales, her whimsy, and a little bit of magic, a little bit of science fiction, light that's not too deep. That could be her jam. And so she knows and she's familiar with the fairy tales, and therefore fairy tale retellings are perfect for her. You will get the romantic love stories of Cinderella and Rapunzel and Snow White when you read the Lunar Chronicles, but you're also going to get a dystopian world where there's an evil queen trying to take over and manipulate everyone, a plague that's going on, and lots of sci-fi fun and fighting. So I think if Barbie's going to read something with a bit more of a magical, futuristic element to it, it would be the Lunar Chronicles, for that sense of familiarity and escapism at the same time. Barbie would totally read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now the reason why Barbie would pick this one up is because she'd be so interested to hear about Evelyn's glam, wonderful film star life and how she managed to pull it off. But I also think, as Barbie is someone who is fully dedicated to Ken, Ken owns her heart, is the only man for her, she's going to be so curious to find out how Evelyn managed to have 7 husbands and whether there was one true person for her in the end. And that is why she would pick up The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and that is why we all pick up The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but then we discover there is so much more to that story than a glam cinematic Hollywood life and 7 husbands. And when you find out what that is, you love it even more than you expected. If Barbie was going on holiday, she would totally read You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke and Emezi. This is because it is the perfect ultimate holiday romance. The main characters are going on holiday, they're going off to the islands, the cover is stunning, but also there is a lot of romantic drama. It is a messy romance, and because Barbie has such a steadfast, strong romance with Ken, she's going to want to read about something that's a bit dramatic, a bit more messy than her own romance while on holiday, and that is what she's going to get. And then last but not least, we just know that Barbie would totally be reading Twilight. Barbie has read Twilight when she was a teenager, and she still rereads it every now and again. Barbie is the kind of person who would want to be, she's the kind of person who would have seen Edward when she was younger and just thought he was perfect and wonderful and lovely, but she would actually be shipping Emmett and Rosalie the most, okay? Because she loves Emmett, the himbo of the Cullen family. Strong, no brain, dedicated to his girl, and she would see herself in Rosalie, the person everybody thinks is just a blonde bimbo who is really just too protective and wanting to live the perfect life and looking gorgeous while at it. But also Rosalie has a lot of depth to her, she has her history, and she's a lot stronger than other people believe that she is. And I think Barbie would definitely see herself in it, see Ken in it, but also just be there for the teenage supernatural romantic drama that happens. And even though oftentimes the plot in Twilight is very straightforward with very in-your-face foreshadowing, as much as Barbie is very, very smart and intelligent, as we've established from her non-fiction and Animal Farm reading, she still would not guess where the plot is going most times. And there you have it. Those are 10 books that I think Barbie would definitely read. Please let me know in the comment section down below which books you think Barbie would read, or if you've read any of these books or want to. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video, and to go and watch the Barbie film. You know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!